The arrogance of a waiter facing Jackie Chan, the unexpected owner. Hong Kong, a city of light and contrasts, was home to some of the most prestigious restaurants in the world. Among them, L'Imperial Lotus, a five-star establishment popular with the local and international elite. Located in the heart of the Central District, it embodied absolute refinement. Its immense glass facade offered a breathtaking view of the bay, while inside, the decor blended tradition and modernity. Majestic crystal chandeliers illuminated the room with a golden glow, carved precious wood panels recounted scenes from imperial China, and carefully arranged floral arrangements filled the air with a delicate fragrance. Customers of the Imperial Lotus were influential businessmen and women, celebrities, politicians and heirs to colossal fortunes. Here, everything exuded prestige and exclusivity. The tables were set with absolute attention to detail. Fine china, silver cutlery, hand-embroidered napkins. The cozy atmosphere was lulled by soft music, and the staff moved with almost military discipline. Among them, Antoine, a 28-year-old French waiter, had managed to find a place in this temple of luxury after having worked in several starred establishments. Hard-working, but unbearably arrogant, he had built a reputation as an efficient but contemptuous professional. For him, service was an art reserved for exceptional clients. He paid all his attention to the wealthy dressed in tailored suits and designer dresses, to the customers capable of leaving extravagant tips, to the well-known faces of high society. Conversely, he disdained those who did not correspond to his criteria of prestige. If a customer didn't display a gold watch or a designer bag, in their eyes he was just an intruder. Antoine was not content with ignoring them. He made them feel that they were not welcome, through disdainful looks, scathing remarks or neglected service. That evening, when the restaurant was bustling and the tables were occupied by financial tycoons and celebrities, a man entered discreetly. The man, modest in appearance, wore a lightly worn denim jacket, simple black pants and white sneakers. His appearance contrasted with the surrounding opulence, and he did not seem to be trying to attract attention. His slightly graying hair framed a face marked by time, but his gaze remained lively and observant. He had a relaxed posture, a natural calm, far from the ostentatious confidence of the restaurant's regulars. Without hurrying, he looked around the room before settling down quietly at a table near a large bay window. He did not ask to be served immediately, did not try to attract a waiter with an impatient wave. He simply waited, serenely. Antoine, who was taking an order at a neighboring table, noticed him immediately. With a glance, he assessed the man and drew his own conclusions. A lost tourist or an unimportant man, clearly out of his element. A mocking grin touched his lips as he walked towards him, adopting a haughty posture. "Good day, sir. Are you sure you have booked?" he asked, crossing his arms, his tone oscillating between disbelief and sarcasm. The man raised his head, his calm eyes meeting Antoine's. He gave a slight smile before responding gently. "Yes, I booked under the name Chan." Antoine raised an eyebrow and sighed loudly. "Well, Mr. Chan, we have a prestigious clientele here. I assume you know our prices?" He deliberately insisted on the word prestige, hoping to intimidate the man or push him away from himself. But the man remained impassive. He just nodded. "Yes, I know them." Antoine felt a hint of annoyance. Why didn't this man seem impressed? Why didn't he show any signs of embarrassment? He grabbed his notebook abruptly and took the order with obvious nonchalance. Then, without another word, he walked away, rolling his eyes. A few minutes later, Antoine returned with the entry. This time, he made no effort to hide his contempt. He placed the dishes on the table a little too forcefully, causing the plates to clink against the china. "Here is your order. But if you're looking for somewhere more affordable, there's a small restaurant around the corner that might suit your style better." He gave her a fake smile, hoping to provoke a reaction. But the man did not lose his calm. He simply looked at him and replied, still with this disarming serenity, "I'm fine here, thank you." There was a quiet assurance in his voice, a calm that contrasted violently with Antoine's arrogance. As Antoine walked away, convinced that he had put this stranger in his place, Murmurs began to rise in the room. Several customers had recognized the man and exchanged surprised looks. "Did you see?" a man whispered to his wife.
"It's Jackie-chan."
At another table, a businessman lowered his phone and stared at the stranger, stunned. "This is not possible," he whispered. "Is that him?" Little by little, the conversation stopped, and a strange tension set in. Some customers sat up straight in their seats, trying to catch a glimpse of the man. A waitress, who had just realized who was sitting at this table, turned pale and dropped a glass she was holding. Antoine continued to go about his business, paying no attention to the insistent murmurs that rose in the room. He had noticed some excitement among the customers, but he attributed this to the likely appearance of a celebrity in another corner of the restaurant. The idea that this man, dressed simply in a denim jacket and sneakers, could be the cause of this commotion didn't even cross his mind. After all, who was he to deserve so much attention? As the waiter had just placed the dessert on Jackie Chan's table, a commotion was heard near the entrance. The employees' voices seemed to quicken, and suddenly the restaurant manager appeared. The director of the Imperial Lotus, Mr. Liu, was a meticulous man in his 50s, always dressed in an impeccably tailored suit. He used to maintain strict discipline among his staff and never intervened in the department unless there was an absolute emergency. That evening, however, his attitude was different. His face, usually impassive, was livid. He strode through the room, followed by several employees who seemed panicked. When he saw Jackie Chan sitting at the table, he stopped abruptly, as if he had just seen an apparition. A heavy silence fell over the restaurant. All eyes were on him. Mr. Liu then rushed towards Jackie Chan and bowed deeply, his tone full of respect and emotion. "Mr. Chan, what an honor to see you here tonight." The statement was like a bomb dropped in the middle of the restaurant. Some customers who had not yet understood the situation jumped. The man in the denim jacket. Was Jackie Chan? Antoine felt an icy chill run down his spine. His heart stopped for a moment. His eyes widened in astonishment. He opened his mouth, but no sound came out. Mr. Chan? He finally stammered, his voice trembling. He turned his head towards Jackie Chan, desperately searching for confirmation, still hoping it was a misunderstanding. But the director's look, black with anger, confirmed the terrible truth. Jackie Chan, still calmly set down his cutlery and lightly wiped his mouth with his napkin. Then he finally looked up at Antoine, his gaze both piercing and kind. "Don't worry, Mr. Liu. I just wanted to see how my staff treats their customers."
Así ver ran down Antoine Spain.
He knew something even worse was coming. Your staff?" he asked in a weak voice. Jackie nodded slowly. "Yes. I bought this restaurant a few months ago. I wanted to come incognito to observe the customer experience with my own eyes." Antoine's legs began to tremble. Sweat beaded on his forehead. Jackie continued, her voice calm but implacable. "It seems that some employees lack respect towards customers they consider unworthy." An icy silence fell in the room. The other waiters, paralyzed, observed the scene with apprehension. The customers, fascinated, held their breath. Antoine had insulted his own boss, a man respected around the world, a legendary actor, a philanthropist, but above all a figure of humility and wisdom. Jackie stood slowly, her posture straight and imposing. He stared at Antoine with an intensity that made the waiter shiver. "You judged someone without knowing them, simply on their appearance." His voice, although calm, sounded like a warning. "You disrespected a customer without even knowing who he was. Is this how you welcome people?" Antoine, unable to respond, felt his legs becoming heavy. His usual arrogance had evaporated in an instant. He was nothing more than a child caught at fault. He awkwardly tried to stammer out an apology, his voice cracking with fear and shame. "I'm sorry, Mr. Chan, I didn't know." Jackie crossed her arms and sighed softly. Respect is not given based on wealth or appearance.
It should be universal.
These words echoed throughout the room. Some customers nodded in approval, others, visibly uncomfortable, looked away, perhaps because they themselves had already behaved like Antoine in the past. The director, still furious, took a deep breath before turning to Antoine, his gaze burning with suppressed anger. I will not tolerate one of my employees treating anyone like this, least of all the owner. Antoine closed his eyes for a moment, hoping for a miracle. But there was none. You are fired immediately. The words fell like an irrevocable sentence. Antoine, with a defeated face, lowered his head, unable to meet anyone's gaze. He no longer had any power, any arrogance to display. He was nothing but a shadow of himself. Slowly, he took off his apron and placed it on a chair before leaving the room under the heavy gaze of customers and his colleagues. Some murmured among themselves, others didn't even bother to hide their relief. The humiliation was total. But Jackie Chan did not display any unhealthy satisfaction. He did not seek to humiliate, only to teach. He sat back down peacefully, as if none of this had troubled him. He grabbed his cutlery again and resumed his meal with disarming calm. His calm, his wisdom and his humility were enough to teach Antoine an unforgettable lesson, and to all those who had witnessed this scene. Because, deep down, that evening, in this luxury restaurant where everything seemed to be measured in appearances and superficialities, the only true wealth that shone was that of respect and integrity.